I think we will start. We will not wait for the others. So, good morning, everyone. How are you, Ayman? I hope all of you are doing well. We talked about the difference between listening and hearing. We said that they are not the same. When you listen, you have to concentrate, not like when you just hear. You are using your ears. That's all. Okay. What else? That's all. We talked just about listening and hearing. That they are not the same. The others, where are you?
Last time we talked about speaking skills, not listening.
Speaking. Yes. Listening was the first one.
Yeah.
Yes. I know. Dikra. Thank you. Thank you for the mistake, Dikra. Yes, Salah, what we talked about in speaking? Salah, since you said speaking, what we talked about in speaking?
We talk about the main elements of effective speaking.
Good.
The words you say, use, your voice, and your other non-verbal communication, like body language.
Body language. Good. Perfect. Thank you so much, Islam. So, as Islam said, we talked about the main thing that we talked about last time is the main elements of an effective speaking, which are, we talked about the main elements in an effective speaking, which are the voice, the words that we use, and the body language. Now we will see the reading skills. First of all, what is reading? Reading is the third of the four language skills. It is called a receptive skill because when we read, we receive language coming in. This is an information that we talked about in the first lecture when we talked about language skills. That reading is a receptive skill, which means it provides you with an input, and you you gain information from. We have why read. Why do we have to read? You probably know that even in your own language, reading is regarded as important because it can be entertaining and educational, can open up new worlds and enrich your life, and can improve hand-eye coordination and enhance social skills. Those are one of the benefits of reading as a skill in one's own language. For example, for us as Arabic native speakers, we have to read because reading is an entertaining and it's educational, like we gain information for our studies or something like this, or even it educates us in the life in general, not just in our studies. It can open in new worlds and enrich your life, as I said, and also can improve a hand-eye coordination and enhance social skills like communication skills and so on. But for learning a foreign language, in this case, English, like we have here, English is the case that we're learning a foreign language. Reading in that language has additional important benefits that can help you learn the language faster and more completely. When you read in your own language, it's good, it's beneficial for you, it will enrich your life and so on. But when you read in a foreign language, this will help you not just in your life, not just to enrich your life and educational system and entertaining and so on, but also it will help you to improve yourself in that language and learn it faster than without reading and in a complete way. Okay, to learn a specific language, you have to read. If you didn't read in that language, you will not learn. Or even though if you learned, but your learning will not be completed. Okay? Reading is an essential skill for language learners. When your reading skills improve, your listening, speaking, and writing skills improve too. Here are some of the specific reasons why English learners are encouraged to read in English. For example, as you, for learners of English, why do you have to read in English? Here we have some reasons or some purposes that may encourage you to read. The constant repetition of words and patterns in reading help you learn and remember vocabulary and grammar structures. For example, for people who don't like to study grammar or to know the rules or to memorize the rules of grammar and so on, when they read for the first time, they read for the second time, they read for the third time, they will memorize the grammar structures without learning grammar. You will have an idea about grammar structures, you will memorize them in your mind without being aware that you are memorizing. Okay, so reading will help you in grammar as well as vocabulary too, because when you read, you will obviously you will have a new vocabulary for each time you read. Okay. The second purpose we have, reading helps you become familiar with the rhythm of English. Over time, it will start to feel natural and you will notice when a sentence or a phrase doesn't seem right. You will be familiar with the rhythm of English, like we mean English will not be a foreign language for you. Let's say it will be as a second language for you. When you read too much in English, you will be familiar with the language, with the words, with the sentences. Maybe if you hear a sentence, you can notice that this sentence is not correct. It's wrong. Why? Because you read it too many times in a way, and now you are hearing this word in another way. So this sentence is not correct because I read it in another way, or I read the correct sentence. Over time, it will start to feel natural, and you will notice when a sentence or phrase doesn't seem right. In like conversation, reading is something you can do on your own. You don't need someone else to read with you. People always say, if you want to learn English, practice it with a partner or join conversations and so on. But sometimes you can't, or you can't find a partner, or you don't have someone to practice with. So here, reading doesn't have this problem of partner, or you have to choose someone to practice with. Reading, you practice it alone without the need to anyone. Reading is not expensive, often free, especially nowadays. It's somehow When we say it's free, it's not expensive. We mean, for example, we mean, of course, PDFs, not printed books, because as a lover of reading, you can you can clearly know that reading is really expensive. But since we have the internet and so on, so you don't have to buy, or you don't have to read from hard copies. You can just read from your phone or from your PC or something like this. Okay. Next, we have good reading skills can improve your other language skills. You need to learn to read before you can write. No one can write if he doesn't read. If you doesn't read, you can't write. By writing, I mean academic writing. Okay? Academic writing, even though simple writings. If you can't read a sentence, you can't rewrite it. Of course, I'm talking about new learners of the language, not learners that already know the language. Okay, but for academic writing or perfect writing, like for example, for authentic writings, you will not have a good, for example, good poem if you don't read. You will not have a good essay if you don't read. You will not have a good article if you don't read, because skills of reading are likely the same as writing. Why? Because when you write and you are a reader, you read too much, you will think in a way of writer and the reader. You will think that I will write this sentence, and then no, I don't have to write this sentence, because for me, as a reader, I can't read it or I can't understand it. So I will change it, so it will be easy for the readers to read. Okay, you will have mind that think in both ways, as a reader and as a writer. Reading is the best way to learn and remember the proper spelling of words. When you have the appropriate resources and you read words, you will not have spelling mistakes. Or your spelling mistakes, the possibility of having spelling mistakes will be less than the normal. Listening as you read aloud can help you improve your pronunciation skill. If you have someone who is listening to you and when you read aloud, and he will correct to you your pronunciation, so at the end, or maybe in a short period of time, you will have a good pronunciation. If you want to improve your English, learn to love reading in English. The best readers often get the best grades, jobs, and opportunities. This is something that I really, really, really encourage you, and I have an experience because for me, as a learner of English, before being a teacher of English, when I was a learner of English, I wasn't able to read. In my first year at university, teachers were always like, you have to read in English, you have to read in English. But for me, reading was just the beauty of reading was just in Arabic. Until now, honestly. I'm telling you something that I don't have, and I'm sad that I don't have. Okay, till now, I have a problem in reading in English Why? Because I love reading in Arabic. I start reading in English. I'm not that one who doesn't read in English at all. But since the first day, I kept in mind that no, reading it in Arabic. I don't feel the beauty of reading if I read in English. But no, it's necessary. It's not something you can choose. It's necessary to read in English. Same as me, Taha. So I'm happy that we have someone here who can feel me. But I believe that that when I was about to prepare my master dissertation, because for me as an English student or students of English, we didn't have a dissertation in the license. We had dissertation only in the master. Okay, when I was about to prepare my master's dissertation, it was hard. It was really hard for me to read articles, to read books, searching for certain information. But if I had that skill before, it will be easy for me. So try to improve this skill from now. Okay, so you will not face those problems in the future when you need to read, because you will have time that you need to read. You don't have anything you don't have any other thing to do, just to read. It's like an obligatory. Okay, so start from now. Start loving reading in English, so it will be easy for you next time to read when it's obligatory. Then we have what to read. Are you overwhelmed by the reading materials that are available? Without spending a penny, you can read printed texts, books, magazines, newspapers at the library, online materials, websites and blogs, and ebooks on your mobile device. Think about what you like to read in your native language. Can you find these written materials in English? So you don't have to make it difficult when reading in English. Don't choose for example, if you are someone who likes to read novels, don't go for the scientific texts and say English is easy to read. No, read novels first in English. Then when you need to read scientific texts, you will find it easy because you already started reading in English. There are two important things to decide in deciding what to read. It should interest you, so that the reading is fun and not boring. As I said, you have to choose something you like to read. Someone may say, I like reading scientific texts or books. Someone may like reading novels. Someone may like reading magazines, maybe short stories. It differs from a person to another. The second point, it should be it should be at a level that is not too difficult for you. As a non-native English speaker and as a learner of English as a foreign language, choose books or magazines or newspapers or articles that are in your level, that are if you don't know English very well, so choose articles or some, for example, texts that have a simple language, simple words, okay, not that difficult complicated words, because you will hate reading if you choose them, and you will not read, and you will never read if you choose something which is not from your level. The problem when someone not reading at all in Arabic or in English. It's not just a problem, Salah. It's not just a problem. It's a big problem. But even though you don't read in Arabic, okay, it's your mother tongue, it's your native language. You are learning English as a foreign language. It's not your language, okay. You will not have a complete learning aspect if you didn't read, okay. You will not learn completely in a complete way if you didn't read. You have to read, even though you don't read in Arabic, but you have to read in English. So you will gain vocabulary, grammar, too many things. You will gain them from reading. Okay, saving your time. And if you're talking about the how you choose the topic to read, if you don't read in Arabic, but each one of us have something that interests him. Okay, you don't read in Arabic, but you have something that interests you. Maybe stories, maybe scientific texts, maybe I don't know. Even the transcription in the videos and movies and so on. Okay, it's considered as a reading. Here are some types of reading material to try. Okay, we have books, including children's books and graded readers, newspapers, online news articles, online blogs about topics that interest you. For example, search for top 10 blogs lists by topic. For example, Salah, you can write in Google, you can write top 10 blogs about artificial intelligence, or top 10 short blogs about artificial intelligence. You will have some blogs. Try to read at least 5 of them. Okay, you will find them interesting, and you will find yourself reading them and enjoying reading them because you are interested in artificial intelligence. We have also letters, personal and commercial, transcriptions, as I said, of some online videos, and subtitles on films, short stories, poetry, proverbs, cartoons and jokes, recipes for cooking, advertisements, and brochures. For example, Salah also, as you said, you don't like to read in Arabic. Sometimes maybe let's say sometimes you're staying at home, bored, you don't have anything to do, and you want to laugh, you want to be happy, you want to change your mood. Okay, go to Google, write jokes in English. I know that they will not be that funny as you read them in Arabic, but they will be funny and you will enjoy reading the jokes. Okay, just start from a point, even if they are jokes, not articles and so on. Okay, just read. The point is that you have to read. Then we have 10 reading tips. The first thing, read at a level slightly lower than what you understand. As I said before, 5 minutes or 4 minutes, when you choose something to read, don't go for the difficult or complicated articles and say, I can't read. No, you have to choose something which is at a level of yours, or even a lower level. Okay? When you read in a lower level, you will, maybe it will be funny if you understand the joke. But as learners of English, for example, I'm talking about people who even don't know English, who are just beginners in English. Okay, I said reading at a level which is lower than what you understand. You should not have to look up a lot of words. It's okay to look up a few words. When you read an article and you just have like you read a simple article, okay, a short simple article, and you have, let's say, 10 new words, it's better than you read a long complicated article without having any new word in your package. Okay, the next point we have, make reading a ritual. Choose the time and the place to read every day or week. Commit to this reading time as if it were a job. Okay, choose a specific time, a specific place that is calm. You can concentrate well. A time that is that you can fix for reading. Don't choose, for example, if you don't study. For example, let's say today I didn't study the lecture of English. Let me read. Okay, it's good to read in your free time or in time that you don't have lectures or something like this. But maybe the next week you will have the lecture. So it will not be a fixed time. You have to choose a fixed time that you are free at that time, a place that is appropriate to read, and consider that time as if it's a time for your job. Okay? This time, I prefer make it dynamic, not fixed. It's dynamic. When it's dynamic, Tahar, when it's dynamic, you will read once and 10 times you will not read. But if it's fixed, you will be obliged to stay at that time to read. Even though you prefer dynamic, okay, it's something up to you. Or make it like minimum amount you have to read it in a day. I'm using this method to motivate myself to read actually. I'm like I couldn't find another solution to read, so I'm using those tips or those methods to oblige myself to read. Sometimes they are beneficial, sometimes they are not. And if it's dynamic, as you said, it's up to you. If you can say on it, whatever happened. Yes, it's I think for the people who doesn't like to read, it's the most important, it's the most appropriate, way to read is that you oblige yourself, that you stay and read at that time. Whatever happened, you don't stop. Whatever happened, you don't stop. Maybe you can you see that it's something like not that cool, but For some people, it's better. For the majority, not some people. For the majority, this way is better. Let's move on. Read what interests you, as I said before, something that interests you. Don't if you are interested in I don't know, if you are interested in scientific texts, don't read poetry and say that I can't read. Understand what you will be tested on. If you are working on your reading skills for a particular test, make sure to learn about the test. There may be specific formats such as advertisement that you will have to read in the text, in the test. Sorry. So some people, good time. Some people may be reading for a specific purpose. They're reading this article for a specific purpose. Let's say we have here example of tests, okay? You will pass a test, for example, IELTS, people who pass the IELTS, or any other English test, or maybe someone who have a research and he is reading in order to conduct his research. Here, you have to focus on the way you will need reading on, okay? If you have a test, try to focus that test. What does it need from you? What you have to read exactly? Reading, for example, a short story, it's not like reading a newspaper, it's not like reading scientific text, okay? Reading differs from a type of reading to another. Find free reading materials. For example, we will be back to me as an example. I say that I don't like PDFs. I like reading hard copies. I like reading books. I like to test the book in my hands. So I'm not reading. Why? Because I read all the books that I have, and I don't have, for example, money to buy other books. So I don't read. If I don't have money to buy another book, I don't read. No. If we have the ability to read, we have all the materials. Okay, any book you want to read, you can find it on the internet. In a way or another, you have all the materials, all the text, all the books in the internet. So you can't say I don't have what to read. Just you have to choose the appropriate free reading material. Number 6, we have visualize what you are reading. Some people try to imagine they are reading a movie or a how-to video. For example, when you are reading a short story, try to imagine that story, so reading will not be boring. Okay? Try when you are reading a story, or even though scientific text. When you are reading a scientific text about, for example, let's say a computer, okay? Computer architecture, a scientific article about computer architecture. Try to imagine what you are reading, the things that you are reading, or the author is talking about. Try to imagine that. So it will be not funny, but it will be cool for you to read. Number 7, listen and read. Find podcasts or videos that have transcripts and read along silently. You can also read out loud with recording. There are some apps on the mobile that provides you with the stories or texts or articles that are written and spoken. So you will read and listen at the same time. Podcasts are very helpful. Yes, Taha. Very, 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 very helpful. Helpful in reading as well as listening. Okay, they will improve listening and reading skills. If especially if the podcast is written, like I mean, if you have the transcription of that podcast, you can read silently or out loud. Both are helpful, but I think out loud is more helpful than reading silently with the audio. Relate what you read to your own life. How does the reading apply to you? Like when you are reading something, try to apply it in your life. Do I have this thing I'm reading in my life? As I said, for example, when reading about computer architecture, try to imagine your life here at university, how you are talking with your teachers. Remember all those things so you will understand better, you will enjoy more reading that article. Think about the author or the journalist. How would the reading differ if you were the author? As I said before, when you read, you will be a good writer. As I said, when you read, you will be a good writer. Okay, you have to read, so you can write, because the writer will think in both ways, the way of the reader and the way of the writer. You also, as a reader, try to think in a way of a writer, in the way that the author is thinking, why the author is writing this information, what does he have in his mind. Okay, try to think in this way, so you will have new information, not just new you will have new ideas, not just new vocabulary. Check your eyesight. If you haven't had your eyesight checked in the last few years, make an appointment. What do you mean by eyesight? You can tell me, what do you mean by eyesight? By checking the eyesight. Vision, yes. Check the vision if you see good or not. Not, yes. Reading strategies. We have some strategies for reading. Okay? Here are some strategies for improving your comprehension skills. How powerful your eyes are. Good, Muhammad Salami. Welcome, Salami. So the first strategy we have skimming is to read for the brief idea or overview. You need an overview about that text, so just skim the text. Don't focus on the detail. Scanning or scan, read for specific details or specific reason. Which means that you have to concentrate more on reading, and you are searching for specific details. So you have to concentrate on the details. Okay, so you will have what you need from that reading. KWL, It determines what you know about the topic, what you want to know about the topic, and what you learn. When you read a specific text, try to make some points. The first point, which is what you know about the topic before reading that text. Then, what you want to know about that text. After reading the text, write what you learned from that text. What's a new thing that you learned from that text? Skipping. If you don't understand the word or section, keep reading ahead. Don't stop. Come back to the section or word again and try to figure out the meaning. Use a dictionary if necessary. So here you have to skip the point. Don't stop in a particular point or in a particular word or expression that you didn't understand. Skip it, continue reading, and then back to that word and translate it or search for its meaning. Okay, but don't stop your reading just because you didn't understood a word. Look for headings, subtitles, and keywords. Sometimes you have texts with headings, subtitles, and keywords. Those elements are there to help you understand the idea of the text more. Headings, subtitles, keywords are elements to help you understand better. Okay, so don't just skip them and start reading directly the text. Try to look at them. Then we have reading out loud. Reading out loud. Children read out loud when they first start reading. You can too. Get comfortable hearing English voice. As we said in the lecture of listening, some people may feel ashamed or may feel shy when they hear their voices, or for example in records or something like this. You have to be familiar and comfortable with your voice, as we said in the lecture of listening, but not just in your voice in your native language, but also in the language you are learning, which is English in this case. So you have to be familiar with the language, with the voice, with your voice in this language. So when you read the text, try to read it out loud. So you will, by time, it will be okay for you when you hear your voice reading in English. Then we have create timelines or charts. What do we mean? Recognize what you read in different formats. If you are reading an article, try to draw it's like try to draw a table and like categorize the ideas that you gained from or you understood from the article, and recognize them and categorize them, each group of ideas alone in a part. Rewrite in a different tense. For example, when you read a short story, rewrite that story. Let's say if you read, I don't know. Give me an example of a short story. Let's say Cinderella, even though girls are not here, but let's say Cinderella. When you read Cinderella, you will read it in the past tense. Okay? Try to rewrite it in the present tense or maybe in the future. Okay? The same story, the same words, but change the tense of the story. Okay? This will help you in reading and writing. Rewrite in different formats. For example, rewrite an article in letter or list form, or let's say just a paragraph. Rewrite an article in a paragraph, or as they said, in a list form. Okay? Why we are concentrating on rewriting? Because if you rewrite, you will focus what you read in your mind, and you will understand if you got the ideas or not. If you will know if you have to reread or you don't have to read more. Illustrate. If you think you are a visual learner, sketch images or an infographic related to what you read. Draw, for example. Draw the story you are reading. Make it in a form of drawing. Okay? As if you are translating it. Then we have write questions. As you read, think about which questions you might find on a test or quiz. Write them down and answer them, or quiz a friend. For example, let's say our lectures of English. You are preparing for the exam and you are reading the lecture. Don't just read the lecture and memorize it. When you read the lecture, try to think of some questions. Okay? Write the questions and try to answer them. Or you can do it with a friend. Write the questions and ask them to your friend. Okay? So this way you will know if you understand what you are reading or not. Another way we have summarize or retell. You can do this by writing a letter to a friend, writing a blog post, making a webcam video, or just starting a conversation on this topic. You can just summarize, for example, let's say, with your own, summarize an article to short paragraphs, just with your own, without telling anyone. Or you can retell what you read in the story or in the article or in the text. Retell it to a friend, or for example, as let's be back to me. As when I was a student, when I study something or I read something that is interested and I like it and I really understand it, when I back home, I retell it to my mother. I will tell her that we studied this and this, and I read this and this and this, and this text contains this and this. So when that person will be able to pass the text instead of you. Why? Because you understand that topic and you retell it in a good manner. We have also learned affixes. Now in prefixes and suffixes will increase your word recognition. Affixes are the prefixes and suffixes. When you know that prefix, this is a prefix and this is a suffix, will increase your word recognition. You will have a big package of vocabulary in your mind. Keep a vocabulary journal. You have to make a journal with you or notebook and write each new vocabulary you have. Whenever you read and you learn a new vocabulary, you will learn new vocabulary when you read. So just write them down, okay? Get a vocabulary partner. This is a good idea too. When you read an article and you get new vocabulary, let's say 10 vocabulary or 10 words, and you have a friend that read the same article or the same text. Try to exchange with him the vocabulary or the new words that you acquire. Okay. The last point, we have use a pen or a ruler. Some people find it easier to read with a pacer. A pen, ruler, or fingertip can help you keep your place and prevent your eyes from wandering off. This may not be suitable if you are reading on a computer or mobile device. Adjust the screen to a larger size if necessary. For example, me now, when I'm reading this paragraph, I'm moving the mouse, so I will be in the point I'm reading. I will not be lost. Okay, this will help you to concentrate. This will help you to concentrate on the points that you are reading. Yes, vocabulary journal. It's when you have a small notebook, let's say, and you write each new vocabulary that you learn. So that sometimes happen that you learn a vocabulary, you have this vocabulary, you know it, you know this word, but when you need it, you don't have it. You lose it when you need it, okay? You say, I read that word in an article, but I can't remember that word. You just check the notebook or your journal, your vocabulary journal, and you will find that word. This way will make it easy for you to memorize the vocabulary that you need. For the partner, try to exchange vocabulary with someone else, a friend, a language partner that you are learning the language with, your classmates, your family members. Try to exchange the vocabulary. For example, you read an article, go to someone and say, I learned this word and this word and this word from this article. Okay, so this way you will keep the vocabulary with you. Is it clear? We have active reading. As the last point, we have actively reading, sorry. As we had active listening, we have active reading. For active reading is the process of engaging with the text as you read. Like you don't read just to read. When we said active listening, we said it's not just hearing, which means using your ear. And here, reading, active reading is not just for using your eyes and focusing on a specific point. No, when you be engaged in that text or in that story or something like this, this is active reading. Techniques for making your reading more active include underlining or highlighting the key phrases as you read. When you read, try to highlight. This can be a useful way to remind yourself about what you thought was important. This can be useful way to remind yourself about what you thought was important when you reread the text later. However, it is important not to highlight too much. You might, for example, consider reading a paragraph at a time before highlighting or underlining. This will allow you to identify the most important ideas within it. Alternatively, you might find that it's best to read a whole chapter first to get a sense of the main idea, then go back and highlight points that build the argument. What do you mean by saying highlighting and those things? You have to, it's not you have, it's better to highlight or underline the words or the keywords or the key ideas when you are reading. You see something, you think that this idea is important. I may need it later, or this idea is important, is, let's say, from the most important ideas in the text. So I will highlight this idea and I will be back to it. Maybe I will summarize the text later. So it will be easy for me when I read just the highlighted ideas. It will be easy to summarize. The most important thing that you don't highlight too much. Some people, when they are studying or let's say revising for the exams, they bring the lectures, they bring the polycopies, they start reading and highlighting, reading and highlighting, reading and highlighting. You will find all the paper yellow. Yes, like you. You will find all the paper yellow. All the ideas are important. No. You have first to if you find that you are doing this and it's something that's not helpful for you, just read the whole chapter or the whole paragraph or the whole text, then think of the most important ideas, then reread it again and highlight the ideas that you see that are the most important in the first level. Okay, this idea is the most important idea. The others are less. Okay, all maybe sometimes you will have all the sentences and expressions in the text are important, but there are some ideas that are more important. Okay, there are some key words, there are some key expressions. Then make notes in the margin to highlight questions or thoughts. Making notes. You can do this in both ebooks and hard copies, or use post-it notes if you do not wish to mark the book, for example, if it's a library book. This process helps you to engage better with the content and therefore make what you read more memorable. Here, for example, you can rewrite the ideas that you see that they are important in another notebook. Okay? If you don't want to highlight, write the idea that you see it's important, and then beside her, write why it's important. It's an idea here. It's a point that can replace the highlighting. Okay, making notes can replace the highlighting, not every day, but sometimes. Next, we have used the signposts within the text itself. Look out for phrases such as curriculae, and most importantly, this highlights areas that the author felt were important. For example, when you have too much ideas that you see they are important, search for the points where the author himself said that they are important. So you have to concentrate on them, since the author said that they are important, so he will concentrate on them in his text. We have also break up your reading time with periods where you write down summaries of what you have read. You can either do this without referring back to the texts or simply use draw on the text. This will help you to focus on the most important items. When I said break up your reading time with periods where you can write, not stop your reading and go playing or go checking your phone or go checking social media and so on. No, when you have the rest time, the period that you have to stop reading and have a rest, try to summarize. Okay? So when summarizing, it will help you in reading. At the same time, you are taking a rest from reading. Asking yourself questions about the author's intended meaning or the effects they wish to produce. This is a process called critical reading. Critical reading is when you criticize or when you think in a critical way why the author wrote this article, why he is with this idea and against the other idea. The last one is good. You mean critical reading, Taha? Yes. What do you mean? The other ones are not good or what? All the tips are good, but it differs from a situation to another. Maybe in this situation you need critical reading. Maybe in another situation you need to highlight. Maybe in another situation you need to summarize. Okay? It differs from the situation to another. Those are students who are afraid from having a test. Sorry. I got you, Salah. I got you. But I gave you. It was something good when I said it's a test the last time, because you prepared a summary and you had extra points on your summary. So it's something good for you, I think. The others, do you have any questions? Okay. Tomorrow the TD session will be about speaking. Okay? Speaking. I will tell you what we will do later. I will send you. And for شكون آثار كاش ما كاينش معهم آثار راني نشوف غير جماعة الاندستريال. This lecture I will upload it on Moodle. جماعة آثار غدوة إن شاء الله الحصة تاعكم حتكون على الوحدة. أوكي 11:10. باش نعوض الحصة تاع ماشي الخميس اللي فات، ماشي تاع باش نعوض الحصة تاع الخميس الجاي، تاع الخميس اللي فات نعوضها مرة واحدة أخرى. You don't have any other questions؟ نبعث لكم غير اللينك تاع التليجرام. Here it is. راح راهو اللينك تاع التليجرام.